Hey Xyla, you're supposed to get down for the intro. We jump in, remember? Hello? Is it just me? Okay. Hey everyone, it's Xyla here. Welcome back to my channel. So you may notice that today I have my clone with me. I made it in the last video. If you missed that, you should check it out. It was a lot of fun. The good folks over at PUBG Mobile have challenged me to create a real life skin of the Spectre Soldier set. So we're gonna do it. And because this one is pretty out of my wheelhouse, I'm still here at my friend Jason's shop. He's a special effects makeup artist. He builds all kinds of cool stuff for the industry, and he's gonna help me out. So let's do it. I just found the best scissors ever in Jason's shop. Okay, so I ordered this vinyl shiny catsuit on Etsy. This is the only white thing in this material that I could find. But I don't need the legs, so we're just gonna... Alright. I thought I was gonna be able to use these scissors to get like really big.
The nice thing about this weird vinyl fabric stuff is you can kind of write on it with a pencil, like a normal pencil. So with the catsuit loaded onto the Xyla mannequin, I drew where the edges looked to be based on the reference image that I was given. And then I Sharpied on a cut line with a seam allowance and just went for it. Sometimes you just gotta grab scissors and go. I just did one side on the mannequin, and then I folded the garment in half off the mannequin to make the two sides symmetrical when I cut it. I put it back on the mannequin and it looked pretty good, so I got to sewing. Or I tried to get to sewing. I read somewhere that for stretchy fabric in a stretchy area like this, you need to use a zigzag stitch, but for some reason I could not get this sewing machine to zig or zag properly. But luckily I have a really awesome Discord community for my Patreon, and I hit them up for help, and a really experienced quilter offered to jump on a quick call and help.
Hello.
Hello! Oh my god. Tech support on the exact same sewing machine. I can't get this. I can't get it to just go zig and zag. It keeps throwing extra stitches in. Yeah, it like throws in.
Why is it doing that?
Right?
Why is it going back and forth like that?
And the entire time that I am trying to figure out how to zigzag stitch this stupid broken ass sewing machine, Jason made an entire knee pad.
Well, just the template for it.
The template for it, but still.
Let's see.
Knee pad.
Knee pads.
Knee pad gang! Someone's getting W's and it's not me!
Figure out that sewing machine yet?
I think so. I'm gonna
I'm
send it.
almost done with the foam part.
I'm starting in the middle of the crotch, so if I really it up, I can yell at anyone who comments on it. Ready? Time to suffer! Alright, you know, it could be better, could be worse.
I'd just like everybody to know that I am not a pattern maker. I'm a special effects makeup artist who is
Been commandeered.
For the center cutout, since like the torso and breast area on my foam mannequin was a little bit off since I was wearing clothing for the life cast, I just wore the bodysuit and had Jason draw the cutout locations with the template right onto me. And then I cut those out carefully with seam allowances and hemmed them with a straight stitch. Same with the neckline, although I left the turtleneck on the catsuit in case we needed something to glue the neck piece onto later. With the vinyl suit done, mostly done.
We can just stop here, right?
It was time to airbrush, which I was super excited about because somehow I've actually never airbrushed before. But it turns out I'm not super great at it. So I got banished, and then Karis took a whack. And by the way, this is Karis. I don't know if you've met her yet. She films and edits my videos now for like about the last year, and she's amazing, and it turns out she's better at airbrushing than me.
Jason told us to sit down. He needs to finish it because he wants to go home.
Although I did jump back in to try the little baby airbrush for some supervised ombre at the end.
Okay, so taking in the sides helped a lot, and I think we were gonna try to build this section, but this bra is close enough, so we're just gonna paint it off camera. So now we know that this ensemble kind of fits, and we can probably get it onto Xyla foam, and then like really start assembling all of the arms.
And for the next 2 days, it is a pattern making and foam cutting party. While it would have been cool to try to make all of these in CAD and generate patterns, that way we only had 4 days for the entire build start to finish, so we did it the old school way, which was honestly really, really fun.
Don't fool yourself into thinking I know what I'm doing. This is just my best guess.
At this point, Jason and I decided to divide and conquer, because that was the only way we were going to get this done. So I took on the neck piece while he worked on the arms. And to make the structure, I made a collar out of duct tape and then drew out where I guessed the seams should maybe go in the foam, and then cut those pieces out and assembled. And while we were working on that, Karis masked off the detailed lines for painting over the tights later. Honestly, it looked really, really cool with the electrical tape on it, and I was kind of sad to take it off, but they did come out really well. With the details painted on, Karis went ahead and glued all the rest of the foam details onto the tights. And saran wrap worked really, really well as a way to evenly apply pressure and hold them in place.
Trying to make another one of these, but this doesn't look that good to start with, so.
And then we just worked late into the night and into the next morning on the arms and neck piece. Making the second arm went really quickly. Now we were both working on it and the patterns were already made, so it was just a matter of quickly cutting and shaping and gluing the pieces.
These are the pieces for the shoe. So these will go up here and then. And I oversized them just a little bit with the goal of being able to cover up a little more in the real life where the shoe has to meet the tights, because her shoes and her pants are all the same object.
There was a lot of pressure on the lighting of this costume because we all knew that this is what was going to tie it all together and sell the effect of this mechanical character. I went back and forth a lot between EL and LEDs. The biggest thing with LEDs is that they're more easily controlled and dimmed, and also use a lot less power than the EL stuff. But in the end, the costume is really screaming electroluminescence, and I couldn't find a way to diffuse the LEDs well enough, so I just went for the EL. And while the DC dimmer before it goes into the AC inverter is definitely a pretty hacky solution, it does get the job done, and sometimes engineering is just knowing what the absolute bare minimum you can get away with is. And when you have 4 days start to finish for a project like this, knowing the bare minimum is a really great skill to have.
So here's the downside, is these panels are power hungry as heck. So if I just stick this, so right now these are in parallel with all these, and you'll notice, womp womp, it steals all of the current. Still dimmable, but now they're like super not bright. So I'm trying to think about how to run this circuit such that they can all be controlled together by the same controller, but they're all getting their own power supplies. And the problem is I'm dimming by messing with the power supply. Okay, I have a theory, and it's that the panels are super dim because there is so much surface area, and it's basically, that's a lot of phosphate that needs to be excited. But if I cut it to the shape that we need, like, I'm using way less of the panel, so I'm gonna try doing that, and maybe that'll just mitigate the whole problem, and I won't have to think about it.
Xyla from the future here, I was totally right. So when I cut down those panels to just the small strips that I needed, the EL wire is still dimmed a little bit, but not enough to hinder the costume's effect. So I was able to run them all off of the same power supply and the same dimmer, which is good because I really needed that for the breathing effects to be believable.
This is good. The smaller I cut it, the brighter it gets.
All right, I got the first EL panel in. I'm gonna glue it in.
While I was gluing the EL panels in, I also realized there were lots of little strips on the torso I needed to glue down as well.
All right, ready to see it?
I'm ready.
All right, it's ready, it's done. Time to put it on. These pieces, I'm just worried about them breaking when this comes off of the mannequin, so we'll glue it on once it's on me, I guess. But everything else is ready to go. Let's do it!